Everybody, 13 News at noon starts today with breaking news. IMPD is investigating a shooting involving multiple people on the near northeast side. We can tell you we know one man is dead, another survived but is stable. He's stable. That's what police are telling us. Police say this shooting happened inside a house. Police say they think this shooting started with a fight between family members. They're still investigating whether they may have shot each other. Both men were taken to the hospital. One of those men pronounced dead at the hospital. IMPD Captain Shane Foley says, regardless of the circumstances, it's an unfortunate situation.
Regardless of the circumstances, we've got two individuals who have been shot. One is likely to lose his life over this incident, and it's another incident of people resolving conflict with guns, with gun violence, and it's not acceptable whether it's inside a house or on the street. We need to do better to respect one another and resolve conflicts that don't involve violence.
A third person has been detained, although police tell us as of right now that person is not a suspect and they are cooperating with them. IMPD says police right now are not looking for anyone else. Of course, we're staying on top of this breaking news. We're going to have much more on 13 News throughout the afternoon and on our mobile app. Also new here at noon, we have just learned Orlando Mitchell has been sentenced to 66 years for the murder of Crystal Walton. A jury convicted him on her murder outside an Indianapolis daycare back in September of 22. Walton had a protective order against Mitchell at the time and had even warned police she was afraid he would kill her. Walton was dropping off their then one-year-old son when she was shot. Her family says they are pleased with Mitchell's sentencing this morning, but they say it still is just not enough. Our Rich Nye was in the courtroom for today's sentencing. We're going to have more starting at 4 o'clock. All right, now to the weather on this chilly first day of April. But Lindsay Monroe says really the big story here is what's headed our way, right?
Yeah, and we're going to be grateful for the dry weather and some of the sunshine that we have today because pattern gets very active, starting with severe weather threats Wednesday and then rounds of heavy rain through the weekend. So let's enjoy some of this quiet weather. Okay. And, you know, it was cold this morning. In fact, looking at some of these low temperatures from earlier today, some of them are just impressive for the fact that it's April. We're talking a low of around 25 up in the Kokomo area. We got down to 30 here in Indy, 29 in Muncie, but all of this is now just a distant memory as temperatures are on the upward trend, at least a little bit. Still just 37 in Bunker Hill, but we've got some sunshine as we currently sit at 42 here in the Indy Metro. 41 right now in Muncie, still hanging in to the upper 30s in Richmond, and then 43 in Columbus. So right now we are trending back toward the 50s, and that's eventually where our high temperatures will be. These are very seasonal numbers for this time of year as we head to 57 with a mix of sun and clouds here in Indy later today, and up to 58 in Shelbyville. Your forecast for this evening will show some increasing clouds as we fall back through the 50s, eventually into the upper 40s. Does look like we could see perhaps a few stray showers as a warm front lifts through the area. We've got the potential of some of these stronger storms as we get into Wednesday. Here's a look at some of the overnight rain as a warm front will lift through. That's going to be for Wednesday morning. Look at where we will be sitting about this time tomorrow, pushing the 80-degree mark as we sit in the warm sector of that weather system. And then in comes that cold front and that severe risk. This is 7 p.m. Wednesday. We're looking at that highest severe potential through the very late evening into the early morning hours on Thursday, and eventually that severe threat comes to an end around 4 o'clock in the morning early Thursday. We're going to talk more about this timeline, the potential threats, and of course, several rounds of heavy rain that could lead to flooding into the weekend even. That's coming up in the full forecast.
We'll be keeping a close eye on that, Lindsay. Thank you. New at noon, a 16-year-old boy faces murder charges for a deadly shooting on the west side. That shooting happened around 3:30 in the morning back on January 20th. Police found 37-year-old Rodney Nixon Jr. in the hallway of an apartment building on North Warman Avenue. Nixon died there at the scene. Police say some sort of disturbance led to that shooting, and then during their investigation, they identified the teen as a possible suspect and learned the boy had an active arrest warrant for dangerous possession of a firearm. The boy was located, taken into police custody yesterday on an active murder warrant. City leaders are speaking out after a violent weekend in Indianapolis. More than 10 people were shot, including 2 teens who died just hours apart. Police say on Sunday, somebody shot and killed 19-year-old Isaiah Booker. His body found near a dumpster at Carriage House East Apartments near 42nd and Midhofer. Hours later, just down the street, police found 2 teens shot at a gas station. 17-year-old Taiwan Jones later died. City leaders say crime affecting young people is becoming far too common in that area.
These are the ones that we want to target because these are going to be our young people who are actively going to be in the community, going into the workforce.
By the time they get to us, at this age, it's too late. And so we all have to do better at getting upstream and getting these youth when we can.
So far, no arrests in either teen's shooting. People are still cleaning up today after last weekend's strong storms across the state. So far, 2 tornadoes and 2 storm-related deaths have been confirmed up in northern Indiana. Meanwhile, to the south, the National Weather Service says it was straight-line winds that moved through Bartholomew County. A lot of fallen trees, as you can see right there, onto houses, downed power lines. Bartholomew County REMC brought in additional help to get the lights back on.
It's really a group effort, everybody coming out working as a team. We're all on the same team. We want the same accomplishment. We want to get the roads open. We want to get everybody's power back on.
It is. It's kind of like, you look around, that house is fine, everything over there is fine. It's just like it dropped in on the house and then took back up again.
The sheriff there says he knows the clock is ticking ahead of the next storm system. He says the goal is to get everything cleaned up and power restored for everybody by tomorrow. And this is some more damage in northern Indiana. Look at that. You can see some buildings in Michiana Shores were left in pieces. This is in LaPorte County. Cameras captured debris on the ground, more power lines down, and trees across the street.
Their kids to public parochial schools. You're trying to
Confronted by their constituents, several town halls have turned combative. And the man facing voters last night, you just saw, was Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, the Lieutenant Governor taking on some tough questions in Franklin. Our Jenny Runovich was there. She tells us more about those Hoosiers who are on edge right now.
You want to serve?
Some people held up their hands for over an hour, hoping to be called on by Lieutenant Governor Beckwith, taking questions from constituents at Franklin City Hall. The room at full capacity with almost 100 people grilling Beckwith on various state issues and local issues, from education funding to a planned project on US 31. At one point, people in the crowd turned on each other.
No, it's not. No, it's not. The state has no control.
One of many issues discussed was a Facebook post on Beckwith's campaign page criticizing Center Grove Community Schools for an LGBTQ flag displayed in a classroom window of the high school. Logan Meyer, a Center Grove graduate, wanted to know how Beckwith and his colleagues will protect people in the LGBTQ community.
I came in asking a very specific question that was kind of just relegated over. I really thought that, Lieutenant Governor Beckwith kind of just skimmed over the important parts and made his own point. It's a shame because, we, especially as a pastor, it's important that we all have inclusivity in our state.
Just all it does is divide. I mean, we're not doing our students a service when we put political agendas or agendas that aren't strictly focused on just educating the basics of education in our kids' schools. And so what I want to see is the American flag and the state of Indiana flag, and that's it. I think a lot of this division then goes away.
The packed crowd had plenty of vocal voters, but it's something Beckwith says he welcomes.
I knew I was walking into a little bit of a lion's den, but that's a good thing, because if there's a question that I can't answer, then I either don't know it or I'm wrong and I need to change, right?
That was Jenny Runovich reporting. The Lieutenant Governor's team says they're planning more events like these in the future, but the exact dates and times so far have not been announced. When we do get them, you'll be able to find all that information online. We'll post it at WTHR.com. Heads up, drivers, an intersection on the Near East Side is now closed as crews begin construction on Indigo's Blue Line. That's happening over on East Washington Street at State Avenue. Here's a look at that area. It'll be closed for the next 8 days or so. so crews can relocate a water main ahead of construction. Detours are posted. Citizens Energy Group says this isn't the only project planned in that area. They expect to do work at several other locations as preparations are underway for the Blue Line. Baseball returns tonight. That is when the Indianapolis Indians will hit the field over at the Victory Field. Tonight's game marks their first homestand of the season, and fans will be back in the stands to see the Indians taking on the Iowa Cubs. Gates expected to open at 5:30 this evening. Take your appetite with you. You can expect $1 concessions, hot dogs, peanuts, Cracker Jacks, popcorn, they've got it all.